Welcome to Red Bull Wololo Shoals as we see this matchup. MBL in the north playing as the Grajaras against dogao in the south playing as the Burgundians. Now, as you can see at the top, this is best of 7 in the Red Bull Wololo qualifiers. The winner of this set gets their slot at Red Bull Wololo Legacy, whereas the other player has to qualify in the next last chance qualifiers. However, MBL, this is game 4. MBL has a commanding 3-0 lead and has the best civ in the game currently. Now I think there's a way to beat them, but I don't think we're gonna see it today. I don't think I've seen anybody even think about it or attempt it, which probably means it wouldn't work. That's the norm. Ooh, did we see a demo? We saw a demolition ship. Interesting. So MBL just runs out here with a demo ship and blows up a few of dogao's fishing ships. Damages, almost gets 2, only gets 1. Another demo raft on the way. And this map is very unique. I have not seen it before. You got this little X-shaped water in the center, on the right and on the left. A lot of gold. That's where the gold you will find on the map. Almost all of it. There's 4 tiles for each player, set in 2 tile slots. Looks very defensive as MBL has his map already nearly completely walled. Really just missing nothing. MBL is completely walled. His side, and dogao not walling at actually dogao well walled as well without hardly dropping any walls. So very defensive map. And I'm sorry. We're gonna rewind. We gotta see this. Go back. You can't just miss demo shots, right? Going back. Okay. And fast forward. And let's see how this goes. To full hit point. Ooh, C tower shoots a lot of arrows. Okay, so the C tower is kind of strong. And fast forward a little bit. That's where we were. Okay, so NBL just taking out the Navy there, fishing ships there of dogao, getting himself a nice little 3 villager lead, 3 eco unit lead. Exact. You can see relics scattered around the map in a pretty normal fashion, although one does find itself at the edge of this gold pile and one on the edge of the other side gold pile. So this right and left control is going to be very important. In the middle, this X-shaped water area, you can see these marshy areas are places to walk. So on the narrow edges of the X, there is a plus-shaped pathway. All right, so you can kind of see there's a lot going on. NBL has the Grajaras, has a camel scout. That threw me off for a second. He's not yet in the castle age. Neither is dogao. NBL, though, on the way. dogao not that close. So dogao is going to be trying to get in and find some damage. MBL probably not going to let him. And you can see MBL has 5 water buffalo garrisoned. Ooh, there was a hole. MBL found it. That's fun. MBL dropping the staple to make some units in defense here. And this is easily walled up behind here. Again, very wallable map. So this one could take a while and have a while. Hopefully it doesn't take too long. Anyway, this game looks like it's going to head late as MBL is just walling up. Almost in the castle age, though. Might not be that late as MBL is going to be in the castle age about the time dogao even collects. So that's not great. Yeah, MBL 20 seconds away from the castle age and dogao just now on play. dogao is going to break in, and there's going to be a little house foundation. He's going to notice, oh, there's more. That's not all. And Townsend are going to be dropped here before these are ever get in. And our Grajara player, the Shravamsha Rider. Are we going to see Shravamsha Riders, which are the coolest unit in the game? And one of the complaints about the Civ is the Shravamsha Rider. Like, it's the fastest unit in the game. Okay, something has to be the fastest unit in the game. Why can't it be a Shravamsha Rider? It wrecks archers. Yay. All right, we've already established archers are overpowered. They're so overpowered, they're getting a nerf in the next patch. So why do we have to be mad about that? It loses to knights, it loses to camels, it loses, well, it loses to every, cost effectively, it loses to light cav. It's like a light cav that costs gold. Why are you so upset about it? It's not that busted. Um, it's just you're trying to fight it with archers like you do knights, and it kills archers. And you're like, dude, it just kills archers. Yeah, it's an anti-archer unit. And over here we have a siege workshop already up, and a monastery being dropped. So Shravamsha, siege monk. This is a play that dogao is. He's not going to be ready for this. He's walled up. He's going to sit in his base waiting for crossbow and bodkin, and which again, like, okay, this unit wrecks archers, right? So tell me why, as a knight civ, you're going for crossbows when you're up against a unit that wrecks crossbows. Now, okay, I understand. You're going for crossbows because it's also the best camel civ in the game. Okay, fair enough. Now, why don't you try Pike Siege? You got the walls, so walls, Pike, Siege. The crossbows actually I like. So open with archers into crossbows, and then add Pike, Siege, monk of your own. I think a Huang-style rush would really put some pressure on the Grajars. Now, the fact that MBL's doing it right back to you would probably be the counterplay to that, so I don't see this strategy with the Grajars is going to be hard to deal with. Very hard to deal with. But I think a Knight Siege push, a Pike Siege push, with Byzantines, with the Celts, any civ, really, would just be so strong against the Grajars. And I think dogao is just frustrated and feeling the pressure here, being down so many games. I would be too. Alright, it's 3-0. dogao hasn't won a game. And now he didn't ban, which he chose not to ban it. He did not ban the Grajars. He let MBL get the Grajars. And we're gonna see it. We're gonna see the attempt. We're gonna see the attempt made. Here's the pipe. Now, the difficulty is Shravamshas are the fastest unit in the game. That's a difficulty. Sanctity's coming in. That allows these monks to withstand a mangonel shot. That's important. And the Shravamsha is running around looking. And we see the pikemen. We see the crossbowmen. We see the siege. More pikemen. Pike production is not there. Not what we need it to be. MBL dropping a town center. I wonder if this area is all visible. Is not. Okay. There we go. dogao just trying to hold on with fewer military, fewer eco, but the military lead. Just walling behind. Headed out to make a town center on the left side. So MBL is taking the right, the north side, and the west, and dogao gonna have the south, hopefully, and the east. Now, it'd be a little unfair if you couldn't find a place to fit a town center, which kind of looks like the case. So defending with pikemen, siege, and armored elephant. Very cool. And this is a little, definitely a bit unfair here, as this town center, that's ugly. Not able to be built in the middle, whereas MBL's is. I would love to see a scripting put in where they have to, have at least somewhere to put that in. Both players, just not a lot going on, as MBL's on 4 town center, booming away. So if you don't pressure MBL, he just adds a lot of town centers. An awful lot of town centers. And dogao struggling away on 2 or 3. These crossbows not doing anything. MBL dropping a castle. And I don't see where dogao goes from here. Like, castle's coming down on your face. Now, MBL could look over here and notice that, hey, your opponent's here. I would love for him to do that. Now he's pressuring there. He decides to back away. this, I hope this I hope this changes. This is just going to be a really unsatisfying game to watch. I would love to see something like, and the castle. See, the castle just changes everything. Once the castle comes up, I'll agree. The Gurjars are utterly unstoppable because here come the shotguns, and it's GG. You can just call it. Like, here come the Shravamsha Riders. Ooh, took a big hit from the Mango. Their armor was down from the TC, and just, wow, they all died. They got wrecked. TC took their armor down. The Mango got the hit, and it almost killed them. You can see how fragile they are. Once they start taking damage, they're paper. They're a paper unit, and they're all dead. Only one of them left. I don't want to see the one that's left. I want to see how much HP they have. It's a paper unit, so it's not quite so busted as you might think with these chakrams, on the other hand. These are nice, I would say a nicely balanced unit. They're really strong unit, but they come from a castle. So that I think that balances them nicely. They die to crossbows, just massive fights. Massive fights do work as scorpions, so they kind of wreck in massive fights. So you can see they don't deal a lot of damage, but they damage a lot of units. That's kind of the idea. And here we have Shravamsha, 55 HP. So those Shravamshas took a 40 HP shot from Mangonel, almost died immediately. A castle being dropped by dogao. So something is going to happen in this game. Indeed, it's not just going to be a little dancing around game until somebody says GG. We're going to have a little bit of action. And the pikemen, I think the castle goes up. The castle does go up, but it's so far ahead. Mbl going to be clicking up to Imperial Age soon, but dogao already on the way there, and Mbl on the way there as well now. So the castle goes up. I think the only hope for dogao is a faster imp, and it's not really going to be so. But maybe something happens. I think now they just look at each other for a bit longer. As Mbl on 5 town centers, and dogao only on 3 town centers. He's 1, 2, 4. Gonna be on 4 here. Just a second. Second castle being dropped in the same place for MDL. He knows this place matters. And the chakrams running underneath the C tower, and that tower does not mess around. 7+1 attack, 8+1 range, and 3 arrows. It doesn't mess around. And MBL doesn't really have a lot in the way of military, only 19 military. And the Burgundians also are home to one of the most busted units in the game, according to many people, and that's their unique unit, which has charge bonuses when it charges into the opponent. With the lance attack, it does a lot of damage, and it fights like a very weak knight after that. I think that's honestly something I've always dreamed about having in Age of Empires, and so I've been really happy to see it in the game. And as expected, the pros make great use of it, and at lower levels, it's not so good. Because in prolonged fights, they're kind of bad, but in quick fights, in diving in and dipsy-doodling away, they're really strong. So, dogao getting to the imp, but MBL also in the Imperial Age, dogao has to be sick, realizing that, hey, this game is slipping away quickly. You got chemistry on the way in for dogao, so those Burgundian bombard cannons, which are really good, might be a big deal here. MBL also getting chemistry, and I don't remember if the Gurjars get bombard cannons. I sort of hope not. They do get these elephants, and so they basically have siege rams. Normally the decision is between siege ram and bombard cannon. For the devs, not always. And bombard cannons are going to be coming out here in about 15 seconds. We'll start out. And this castle, this castle Trevor is really the determining factor in this game. 2 castles for each player, 4,800 HP on each castle, so nobody has any extra upgrades on the castles. Extra upgrades on the castles are pretty important if you have time to pick them up in resources out of your university. The masonry and architecture as this castle looking pretty fragile. This one not holding up too well itself. Inscription now coming out in this back castle for dogao, MBL. Both players have access to bombard cannons, so that's something that could be tweaked about the Gurjars. They don't need bombard cannons. Oh, but a big raid up here. Oh, the light cav raid in for dogao all over. Sorry, for MBL all over dogao's eco. Getting about 10 villager kills there. Castle goes down for both players here. So the castle war so far completely even. The crossbows and hand cannons moving forward, looking for damage. The Shravamsha Riders come in to tank the fire, while the Chakrams deal damage from behind, but not enough. The Trebs are going down. MBL's gonna get pushed back. dogao saying, hey, wait a second. The Gurjars aren't, they might be busted, but I am not dead in this series because I have some game left in me. He's showing the crossbow, hand cannon play. Crossbow, hand cannon, bombard cannon, Treb, and MBL is going to get pushed back. And I think MBL is going to need to refocus his attention over here to this gold and try to get dogao off this gold because he's unable to kill dogao through the middle. In fact, he's getting pushed away. In the open field, the Gurjars have a really nice unit combo. He's raiding and raiding and raiding. But in a close battle, these crossbows and hand cannons deal damage. As MBL is being pushed away. Population, MBL is 174 population with 139 villagers. So MBL's eco lead has to start kicking in soon, and I think it will. As you can see, he's making a switch into hand cannons of his own. And that's he's keeping that hidden, although that might show up. The hand cannons won't. The archery ranges will show up as soon as that castle comes up. And dogao knows he knows what he needs to protect. He's going into more barracks. He knows what he has to protect. I would love to see him just take these in, patrol them, and kill all of that. But he's not. Okay, the hand cannon switch now being shown for MBL. So we might see the rare hand cannon v hand cannon battle. That would be something that's unique. And MBL is going to have to hold on to this side, or else he's going to be in trouble. dogao really holding on over here on the left. MBL being quickly pushed back on the right. So MBL, with the Gurjars struggling to close out this game and this series, not finding the damage that one would expect. And the raids continue to come in, but the push for dogao, well, where's he headed? He decides not to push this way. He begins heading back across the map with his army. Find that odd. Now these bombard cannons, doink, have a lot of extra damage. See, 40 plus 0, that was 40 plus 10. But dogao decides to head across the map, take the fight to the opponent on the left side instead of continuing on the right side. He's already holding and pushing on the left side. I'm not sure why he felt the need to bring the central portion of his army to the left and give up the right side when MBL was having a lot of trouble holding on the right and not pushing on the left. The army just stalled out here. The Trebs, I guess he felt like his army was not strong enough. dogao felt like his army was not strong enough to do anything and backed up. And I think now the eco difference is going to come into play. MBL is just going to go wild with the Hussar spam. A few hand cannoneers to pick off the Halbs, and Hussars everywhere. That's the play right now. But MBL, or dogao, walled up, sort of. This is kind of a mess. I think there's a path. Yeah, there's a path through the housing development there. And hand cannons, if you've got gold, and hand cannons dish out some damage. Look at these babies. Well, if they ever hit. Oh, they're shooting the bombard cannon. Okay, there we go. Look at this. Doink. They drop everything in the path. Doink. And the armored elephants, they're coming in, but they get chewed up pretty quickly by the Halbs. They are a siege unit, but they are a cavalry unit as well, after all. And over here, like I said, on this left-hand side, MBL unable to push on the left, but now having held on the right. These Trebs, which were making so short work of MBL's base on the right, back up. Dogao just back to holding. Hussar raids all day and all night. The walls continually being built and rebuilt, and placed and replaced. And Dogao just holding. And at some point, you have to push, and it's kind of hard to push when you're down on pop by 50, and most of that's eco. MBL pop cap at 200. Dogao only at 150. And I think the skirmishers are gonna do a trick. The skirmishers. The skirmishers could call in a switch to something else for a Burgundian player. A Burgundian player could switch to cavalry, but if he switches to cavalry, then the camels begin to come out for MBL. I think a quick cavalry switch, because it's going to be a lot of skirms. It's just going to be a lot of skirms. And the skirms do beat the hand cannoneers pretty cost effectively. Although gold's not an issue for either player at this point in the game. Although this gold, there's a lot of it. 18,000 gold left over here. And almost 20,000 left over there. Yeah, the gold's not an issue for a long time yet. MBL continues to just toss units into the meat grinder, but who cares? They're hussars. That's what they're there for. That is exactly why they exist, just to get thrown in the meat grinder, die. And MBL just continuing with the hussars and skirmishers and hussars and skirmishers as MBL does. And enough military here to push this castle down. That's a big swing in this game. This castle did not need to go down for Dogao. Dogao's going to really be hurting now. Down to one castle and protecting just the center of his base. And the gold now exposed as the hussars and skirmishers come blasting in. And I think it's over. Indeed it is. GG called. Dogao taps out of this one. MBL showing exactly why the Gurjaras are feared. The Burgundians, a top-tier cavalry civ, just too scared to make cavalry against the great camels of the Gurjaras, but unable to make archers against the Shravamsha riders. And too late with the infantry because of the chakram throwers and hand cannons. So, what a strong civ. And I think the answer is kill them before they get a castle with infantry. If you cannot do that, you need to get such a lead that you're able to just overwhelm with tech switches that the opponent cannot keep up with. It has to be done before the castles come down for the Gurjaras, because once they come down, they do counter everything really better than almost any civ in the game. Let's check the statistics. Our military took out with KD because MBL just threw his units in there. Economy, MBL really dominant in the economy side. Technology, you can see very close there with a fast castle for MBL, really paying off, allowing him to get that early pressure in when it needed to be the other way. The villagers, MBL boomed up, and APM, the same, exact same. I hope you enjoyed this series. And this one was a little disappointing compared to the last series, I must admit. MBL really looking dominant here against Dogao. Not to say that the last series didn't also have a pretty dominant performance, but it was just, this one was a lot more sitting back, watching, whereas Daniel just clinical execution. Well, I hope you enjoyed anyway. I did enjoy the series, and I can't wait to watch these players battle it out in Heidelberg Castle at the biggest Age of Empires tournament of all time. I hope you enjoyed this one. We'll see you